It's Sunday night, and that means it's time for our Paramotor Nation, bringing you some of the most influential people in the sport of paramotoring in America and around the world. Tonight's show is sponsored by Fly My PPG, offering a full-service paramotor training experience. Florida Flight Sports, year-round training. You can do this. PPG Lights, countless patterns and colors on your paramotor. Lone Star Paramotor, foot launching, trike training classes, and much more. PPG Zone, your go-to place for all paramotor information. Aviator Paramotor, a cornerstone for paramotor training and paramotor equipment. Fly PPG, discovered powered paragliding, paramotor training on a field of dreams. Wisconsin Flight Sports, making it affordable and accessible for you to get your paramotor training. Charlie Soap, supplying you with all natural laundry detergents and household cleaners. One Up Adventures and ParamotorProps.com, providing all paramotor training and adventure trips. Skylab SIV, teaching pilots of all skill levels collapse recovery and advanced maneuvers. True North Paramotor, offering American-made, fully customizable frames as well as wings and accessories. Blackhawk Paramotor aims to provide the safest and most powerful paramotoring equipment. Paraswag USA, your complete powered paragliding gear source. iFly Indiana provides training on their equipment or yours for $2,500. Wicked Wings Logo provides customizable glider logos. Check out all of our sponsors with links to their websites along with past episodes and much more information at www.ourparamotornation.com. And now it's time for this week's episode of Our Paramotor Nation. Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Our Paramotor Nation. Thanks for joining. Great episode. One of my favorite episodes that we do every year. Catching up with Resurgence PPG. Todd Scandrett's going to be joining us here in just a second, as well as two of the alumni, Brandon Snathorst and Justin Terrell. So they're going to be joining us here in just a second. I want to welcome everybody that is watching the show live. We've already got 27 people in the chat. First couple people here tonight, Johnny Utah, Craig Taylor, Alexis Quintana, Robert Amuse, Bill H., and Goldie Thiel. Thanks, guys, for joining us. Also, the other audience I love welcoming as well is those of you that have not been able to watch the show live. You're watching this already recorded. Thanks for checking it out the next day. And I'm going to ask everybody to do a big favor. Share this video or share the link to resurgenceppg.com. This is one of the most important shows that I feel that we do every year or even every 6 months, as often as we can get Todd on the show, because it is such a great organization. You hear me talk about it all the time, but in a few minutes I'm going to ask Todd to talk about it because who better for it to come from than him. I am welcoming back to the show, as always, filling in for PPG Gorilla tonight, John Gaspara Ripa. What's up, my friend?
Hello.
John,
just back from EFD.
Oh my gosh, dude. It looked, I was serious fear of missing out FOMO going on all week while you were there, and I'm seeing pictures from everybody. How was it?
I'll tell you what, those Midwestern people, boy, they welcome you with open arms, man. Everybody they want to give you stuff. You could use their equipment. They don't care. Just a great group of guys out there in the Midwest. I really enjoyed it.
Do you think it was really different from a lot of the fly-ins that we go to on the East
Oh,
Coast?
yeah, completely different from the East Coast fly-ins.
Okay, so
yeah.
Who were some of the people that you got to see for the very first time that you've never met? Because you've gone to a lot of fly-ins.
Oh, God, there was a list so long, I'll never be able to tell you them all. Holy cow.
All right.
Martin Henderson, Sean and Rachel Hayden were there. Oh, gosh, there's so many names. I can't even tell you. Robert Muse, Scott Starbeck took care of Rick and I like I felt like we were at our own house. Guy fed us, gave us drinks, let us fly his equipment, let us hang out in his camper.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Kyle O'Glee, I heard, was there, correct?
Yeah, we saw Kyle. Kyle won a trip to Costa Rica. $3,500 all expenses paid.
That's crazy. I think your friend Rick Davies was doing a live stream, and I saw that happen. By the way, how is Rick? And I thought he was coming back tonight. Did he say anything about that?
You know what? He just can't make up his mind. I don't know if we're ever going to see Rick come back. I just don't know.
Well, we hope so, because I know you've been filling in for quite a long time with
It's been like a year and a half now, David.
yeah, free of charge, no pay. Hey, I want to mention, John, just the next couple shows that are coming up. Next week, we have Maria Blandon. She's going to be joining us talking about her free flying, her paramotoring, her whole career of being in the sport. After that, very interesting show we're going to talk about is the results of ground starting. Ryan Bond is going to be joining us. Also in the chat will be instructor Justin Fox. He's going to be joining us as well, giving us some safety lessons. After that, very cool show, Para Orange and Paraswag. That is Larry DeChico and Mark George from Paraswag. They're both going to be joining us. We're calling this the what are we calling this? The Para Shopping for Christmas show episode. Anyways, they're going to be both going through a lot of the stuff that they have. And John, I also heard that Larry is going to be giving away some pretty cool stuff too. So, and
awesome.
I don't want to go too deep into it yet, but it's very cool. And then finally, the week after that, this is October 24th, our Halloween Spooktacular. That's going to be a great show. Last week, we announced that the first person that was going to be on, I guess because you and I can't make it, of course, but Tom Kubat is going to be on that episode. So that's right. Very cool. Very cool. I think we've hit everything, John. We're about ready to get to our guest, right?
Oh, hold on 1 second.
What's that?
Who do we have on? Who's the next person?
Forgot about that.
Halloween
and I had the cup right here.
All
right. A lot of names in here. A lot of people interested in being involved. All right. Mixing it up. All right. You ready? I'm going to pull out another name.
Nope.
Here we go. So last week it was Tom Kubat. Joining to come. Oh, you're going to get some education right here. The Godfather, Eric DeFore.
No way.
Yes. He wanted to be on the show. Eric DeFore is going to be here as well. I can't wait to see who's going to be pulled next week. That's going to be awesome. Very, very cool.
Stuff.
Cool. Should be a great episode. Mark your calendars. All of these episodes can be found on the Our Paramotor Nation website, which is listed right over in that corner right there. You can see the website there. Hey, without further ado, I've got on the show right now, there's Todd, there's Justin, and then there's Brandon. What's up, guys? Hi, everybody.
What's happening?
There you go.
What's going on?
There you go. Thanks, Brandon. All right. So, Todd, let's start with you. Okay. I want you to talk a little bit about Resurgence PPG. For those people, because there's a lot of people that are always coming into the sport. There's a lot of people that have heard about Resurgence. They know about Resurgence. They've given to Resurgence. But for those people, and thank you, John, if you could also put Resurgence PPG into the chat as well. The website.
Been doing it.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy. Talks about Resurgence PPG, its inception, and where it is today.
Okay. So we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization that is focused on getting disabled and adaptive veterans involved in the sport of paramotoring. So the inception of it was I myself going through my medical retirement from the Army and, dealing with issues about that transition from military life to civilian life and, trying to reinvent myself and figure out what I was going to do when I grew up. And what I found was there's a huge chasm between military service and that civilian life that is difficult to transition through at times. And I felt alone. And it's very common for a lot of veterans making that transition to have challenges. And so I was trying to figure out how I could, get involved in some activity and stumbled across some YouTube videos. And I was absolutely amazed at the accessibility of the sport. And so what I did is through more research and figuring out that this is accessible to a disabled and adaptive community, came up with this idea that I was going to get involved in the sport, and that if the sport was able to help me, it has to be able to help somebody else out. And so went ahead and started a nonprofit, and we chartered in 2017. We actually had our first sponsorship in January of 2018, and we've been plugging along ever since, just trying to share our mission, share the stories of our alumni that we've sponsored, and just trying to grow awareness in the community. And so to date, we have sponsored 24 alumni. So we're, we're not growing as fast as I would love to, but looking back and realizing that we've reached and we've impacted that number of lives so far, it's definitely a point of pride, and it's pretty amazing to me.
That's awesome. I know as a show, we have since the inception of the show, we've done everything we can to support Resurgence. Not everything. We haven't done everything we can to support but we keep trying to raise money for Resurgence PPG. One of the things that has always hit home for me is talking to some of the guys that have gone through it and hearing things like, when I'm up in the air, I kind of forget about the things that have gone on in the past just for that time that I'm up in the air. And even when I got to take a veteran up in the air with me a couple months ago, who has severe PTSD, who's going through a lot of personal issues right now with his family, wonderful guy, friend of ours. He told me in that time that I had him up in the tandem for his introductory flight, he said this was just absolutely amazing, and just it's a gift. It's a gift that we can give these warriors, these heroes in our country. We can't do it for everybody, but for the right people, we can. One of the things that I also love is when someone makes a donation to the show, 50% of the proceeds I turn around and I send right over to Resurgence PPG, because, again, we can't. I don't think there's no purpose in having a show like this unless there's a reason, a bigger, higher cause. And for me, I always felt Resurgence was that higher cause. So right off the bat, I want to thank two people who've already made donations in the super chat. That is Will Fly. I love you, Will Fly. Great videos, Will Fly. He says Resurgence PPG rocks. He made a $5 donation to the show. Thank you, Will Fly. And also Linda Anderson, she also made a $5 donation. So thank you both for those donations. We really appreciate it. Todd, I want to get back to you for a second. We've had 20. How many did you say total?
24 alumni.
24 alumni. How many just in this year?
We're getting ready to hit 10. So okay. This is actually going to be our best year for sponsorships. Even though we've seen a reduction in donations because of COVID. So the interesting thing is donations lag significantly. It's a economic measure. And so once COVID hit last year, we were still working off the donations from the previous year. This year, we were working off of the 2020 donations, basically. And so since COVID's hit, there's been a retraction, to charitable giving and whatnot. And so moving forward, we're looking, it's going to be tougher this next year, but we're still going to keep plugging along. So it's just been one of those interesting aspects of learning this as a business approach. So we'll see where we go. But definitely looking forward to what the next year brings.
Todd, I had a video that came out a couple days ago on Facebook that I said I really want everybody to show their support. Okay, a couple things. And that's why people are here right now. There's 44 people in the chat right now, and when I told Todd, I asked Todd, I said, how many people? I'm going to kind of share this. All right, Todd. I said to Todd before the show, I said, how many people do you think are going to show up? I said, throw out a number, and if you're within 5, I'll donate $100 tonight right over to Resurgence PPG. And he said, what was the number you said?
67.
67, right. Right now there's 43 people watching, and want to see at least 67 at some point. If you can, share this link. Just say, tune in, learn about Resurgence. We got 2 great guys that are going to come on, talk about their experience. In the meantime, though, Todd, you ready for this? We've had a couple more super chat donations. The first one came from Jeremy Blake. And Jeremy Blake, he donated $10. Thank you, Jeremy. Really appreciate that, sir. Michael Weatherspoon also donated $10 to the super chat. John Wayne, $50 in the super chat. There you go. Thank you, sir. And then Craig Taylor. Craig Taylor, for those of you who don't know, Craig Taylor is a sponsor of our Paramotor Nation. Craig is also sponsored, help me here, Todd, has it been two or three now?
He directly sponsored Sean Michael Horn, and then he's made donations for other sponsorships as well.
Yeah. So Craig Taylor, he donated $500 in the super chat. And he says, because there's no better group I love as Resurgence and our troops. Oh my gosh, Craig, that is awesome. Thank you, buddy, so much.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also on top of that, Johnny Utah also made a $50 donation. And, you know, when I say that we appreciate that.
David, can I chime in real quick?
Let me just finish this thought, and then I will. I say that from the bottom of my heart because this is your hard-earned money. And you know, just like it's our hard-earned money. And Todd, we love you. We love what you're doing. We love our troops. We love the guys that have served, the guys that are here tonight on the show, who we're going to hear from in a moment. So thank you all, and thank you guys. Go ahead, Johnny.
Todd Falstad made a donation you missed.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I miss that?
Yeah. Yep. I just wanted to throw that in there.
Back up. I'm sorry. Let me go find that real quick here.
Yeah, it was for $1,000.
Okay. Why you do that?
No, he made a donation.
Didn't they? I see it here now. Okay, you're such a jerk. Now you're the jerk, man. Resurgence PPG is on par with Project Airtime. Todd Falstad, Yankee Paramotor, he made a $10 donation. I apologize, Todd, for missing that, but thank you, John, for catching that. Also, I see John Duncan just made a $5 donation. Slow days. Thank you, John. Appreciate that. All right. Todd, let's do this. If we can talk a little bit with Brandon, is that okay?
Hey, can I jump in and preempt you real quick?
Sure, absolutely.
And this is kind of plans going forward. I'll talk about this real quick because of Todd Falstad's donation and comment. What he said, that Resurgence is on par with Project Airtime. I cannot tell you how humbled I am by hearing that, and how appreciative I am of hearing Todd say that. When I started, my very first conversation about starting Resurgence was with Eric Farewell and Travis Burns at Aviator PPG. I was down at Beach Blast. They took me over to immediately talk to Chris Santa Croce, and Chris shared information about Project Airtime. And then he had Matt Minyard take me up on a tandem, and Chris took my son up on a tandem. So the roots and development of Resurgence have always been, you know, in tandem and, you know, parallel to Project Airtime. And we have a tremendous amount of respect for what Chris does and what his team does, as they reach out and they impact the adaptive and disabled community as well. So, you know, they are, you know, they're the standard that I try to achieve, and to hear Todd say that really means a lot to me. And with that, one of the things that we have, the next candidate that we have coming up to go to training, he's actually going to be going to training the very beginning of November with Chris Santa Croce at Superfly.
Oh, wow.
So it'll actually be the first sponsorship that we do in conjunction with Superfly and Project Airtime.
That's awesome. That's very cool.
That's exciting.
So,
yeah.
And, you know, I just, you know, I look at it, and, you know, I want people to understand from my perspective, you know, I'm always soliciting donations and always soliciting support. But one thing I do understand is, you know, our mission might not fit everybody's idea of where they want to contribute money to. If people are able to contribute to Project Airtime as well, you know, you have my full support. They are a fantastic organization. And, you know, there's enough money out there. It's my job to get the story out and to earn that respect and earn those donations. You know, so, you know, as much as I appreciate it, man, if folks want to support Chris and his group, and please do, because they are fantastic. They are awesome people.
Yep, absolutely. More support is pouring in as well, as Nick Griffith just made a $10 donation in the super chat as well. On top of that, Will Fly, he says, I don't want to be outdone by Nick Griffith. So he, in addition to his original $5 donation, just made another $5.01 donation. Thank you both guys right there. And then on top of that, Torqued Off just also made a $20 donation. So thank you all for those donations, and keep them coming. Keep them coming. We'll raise more money for Resurgence PPG. And as you said, and not to overshadow anything that you just said, Project Airtime is absolutely amazing. I love watching the stories and that are coming out with Chris Santacroce, Matt Minyard, Chris Holbert, and everybody else that does help out with Project Airtime. Okay, I'm going to be interrupted a little bit. I want to just give you full disclosure. I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to take it over to Brandon, okay? Because I do want to hear from Brandon. Slow Day says, you beat me to the punch 2 times now, Will Fly, for another $5 donation from Slow Days, John Duncan. All right, thank you guys so much. All right, Brandon Snorthorst, correct?
Bless you.
Yeah, I don't even know, so you're fine.
All right, cool, man. All right, would you please tell us a little bit about your background, where you come from, how you decided to get into the military, what branch you served, what happened while you were in the military, and let's just start with that, and then I'll go ahead and get to the next question, and then we'll be asking Justin some similar questions as well. Go ahead, Brandon.
All right, so I'm from Urbandale, Iowa. I joined the military because I have a long family history in the military, back to the Civil War, all except Vietnam.
Wow.
I was in the Air Force for 6 years, active duty, and then the Iowa Air National Guard for 3 years. While I was in the Air Force, I was in Okinawa, Japan for 4 years, and then Travis Air Force Base in Northern California for just over a year. While in Japan, I got into scuba diving. Not a lot of that here, so I'm getting into paramotoring. But, yeah, and then, let's see, in the Guard, I went to Puerto Rico, South Dakota. I traveled more in the Guard than I did active duty, but yeah, it was a lot of fun.
How many total years were you active?
Active 6 years.
Okay, cool. So how did you find out about this thing called paramotoring and Resurgence PPG?
So paramotoring, just YouTube videos, mainly Tucker Got, and then Resurgence. It was actually a Tucker Got video that led me to them. I didn't know anything about them until about, I don't know, 6 months ago. Well, yeah, about 6 months ago.
Wait, so all of this happened just in the last 6 months for you?
Roughly, yeah.
Wow, that's fast. Okay. So you heard about Resurgence PPG. What was the next step to contacting Todd?
Basically, I just asked one of my friends if they'd nominate me, and then Todd called I think a week later, and they got me in a class at the end of the month.
Oh my gosh.
So it worked out. Timing was perfect.
Todd, I want to take that to you. Typically, Todd, it doesn't happen that fast, does it?
No.
How did this happen so quickly with Brandon?
So one of the big things, just from a financial standpoint, is because we pay for travel and lodging. One of the criteria when I'm looking at our wait list or I'm looking at individual nominees is how close are they to a school that has training available, a school that we've been working with and whatnot. And it just so happened that I've been in contact with Josh Bowden at Nebraska Paramotor. Mm-hmm. And, he had mentioned that he had some availability, and I got Brandon's nomination. And from a financial standpoint, and I hate saying it like this, but there is a business side to it. Mm-hmm. It didn't cost the organization very much at all for the travel piece. The lodging in Omaha was not that expensive for us, and so those factors played into it. A lot of the other nominees that I have are much further away from schools, so the logistics aspect increases the costs. And so one is obviously the cost piece, because, when people make donations, they want to make sure I'm being physically responsible. Mm-hmm. But also the nomination narrative. And, there are things in the narrative that tell me the story about the nominees. And, can this individual benefit from this experience? And, depending on what's in the narration, that's a huge factor as well. And so for Brandon, he was just lucky because the pieces kind of fit right in place and they aligned. And unfortunately for, some of the guys that are on the wait list that are listening to this, some of them have been on the wait list for 2 years. And, it's just a situation where, we haven't had the funds to get them into a school. We have had one candidate that we sent from, the northern Midwest all the way down to Florida for training. And because of his circumstances, it was really expensive for us. And so I've tried to make sure that from a financial standpoint, we're not spending money where we don't need to, where we can still impact individuals.
With any charitable cause or philanthropy, you got to have some sort of trust that you put into the organizers, the people that are handling the money and making the decision. And I've known Todd for almost 3 years now. Hard to believe, but it's almost been 3 years already. And I will say this, if you spend just a few minutes sitting down talking to Todd, and he's happy to do with anybody that comes over to, if you're at a fly-in and come over to the Resurgence PPG tent, he'll sit down and talk with you. And it doesn't take very long for you to have him earn your respect, and likewise, and to realize right away that this is a guy that is fiscally responsible, that makes good decisions, good business decisions, and he's looking out for the bigger picture, not the smaller pieces. And whereas, like you said, you've had candidates that have been on the list for 2 years, we wish we had all the money in the world to donate to Resurgence PPG and get every last person through. I wish we could. I wish I could do it myself, but we can't. So, where it's the right time for the right person, you got to plug them in and take that opportunity where you can. We totally understand that. And Todd, you're just going to have to continue to be fiscally responsible with people's monies, because other people want to donate to the cause. Like Nick Griffith, he just donated $1.49. Appreciate every dollar. Thank you very much, Nick Griffith. All right. And then Jim CR120, he also donated $50. Thank you, Jim. He says, all gave some gave all. Thank you, comrades. Because, there is such an appreciation for everything that these guys that do that protect our families. So appreciate it. I think I just had another one come in here too. Hold on. There we go. Scott Starbeck. Scott Starbeck also says, I challenge anyone who is at EFD to donate. Whoa, that's cool. John, did you hear that? $10 from Scott Starbeck, the super host, as Rick and John are calling him. Thank you, Scott. Gyro Jeffro, he donated $20. Wolverines. Is he from Michigan? I don't know if we can accept that. Thank you, Gyro Jeffro.
I think that's a Red Dawn reference.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I wasn't aware of that. Thank you. There you go. So there it is. Very good. Here's what I want to do. I want to talk a little bit with Justin. I'm going to ask Justin the same questions, and then Brandon, we're going to come back to you a little bit to hear about your experience. So Justin, can you tell us, same questions, a little bit about your background, how you, I guess, got into the military, kind of your experience with the military, and then getting out and then learning about Resurgence PPG and paramotorings. And an extra $5 from me if you just say that you saw a video of mine and you got excited about it. That'd be kind of cool, man. Go for it, Justin.
All right. I had no idea who David Wolf was before today.
All right.
No.
So Brandon, we're gonna go right back to you, Brandon. Never mind.
Wow. I didn't either.
Wow.
I'm joking. Yeah. Going back to, I guess, high school. So after 9/11 happened, I was a sophomore in high school when that happened. And I actually was terrified of getting drafted at the time. But then 2 years later, a recruiter randomly called me for the Army. And I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. So I decided, let's go for it. I want to see the world. So the world that I got to see was Iraq twice. And at that end of the second deployment, I actually got stop lost. So I extended my contract a little bit to do that one. And I just couldn't physically keep up anymore. So I decided to get out. And over the next, 10 years, a lot of things happened in my personal life, with sickness, and my mom had a stroke. My wife ended up almost dying. And so it was really kind of tough. And I was going through college, and I just kind of pushed through. And then when COVID actually kicked off, I was sent to work from home, and I just had a really hard time, I guess, adjusting, to everything. I have 4 kids in the house, and it was just loud, and everything was really, stressful. So I escaped in YouTube, and in all of my searches of adrenaline-filled activities, paramotoring ended up coming up on my feed. And so I saw, obviously, Tucker got and his McDonald's video, and I was like, what is that thing that he is flying to McDonald's? I want to do that. So then I kind of went down the rabbit hole, just started searching a bunch of people. I came across Anthony Vella and Greg Anthony Harris and other people, and I was like, I got to do this one day. And then Resurgence PPG popped up in there somewhere, and I was like, that's really cool. That's really awesome. I didn't think a second thought about it really. So then last January, I saw that Resurgence was putting another nomination list together, and I told my wife, I was like, hey, if you want to nominate me, you can do that. And, hint. So she did. She wrote up a whole thing. And I didn't think anything was going to happen from it. And I got a call from Todd 2 weeks later, I think. Well, he called my wife first, and then I got home from stress driving, and she kind of sat me down and let me know what was going on. I thought he was joking, but it was real, and I got to fly.
That's awesome. Todd, I don't know where you found this guy, but that's okay. Hey. Yeah, Anthony Vella. He's a great guy. Anyways, Todd, another quick, what was it about Justin that kind of appealed quickly to you?
Well, first, I think one thing that we've determined is you need to go ahead and improve your search engine optimization for what you're tagging your videos.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're missing the mark somewhere along the way.
Yeah, it's funny. Greg Anthony Harris taught me how to do all this, and it's just I don't think he's taught me everything, but that's cool. Go ahead, Todd.
Yeah, he's kept some of those some of the secrets to himself, apparently.
Yes.
But so, what was it that impressed me about Justin? Again, it was the narrative, and that's what it goes back to. The story that his wife shared with me about some of the challenges, and he mentioned his coming home from the angry driving and whatnot. That was some of what his wife had shared with me, was some of the anger issues, some of that stress and anxiety, and those are the kinds of things that I key in on, because we all realize what it's like to go out and fly. You get in the air, and it's what you talk about, David, is, it's that reset, that mental reset, that emotional reset. Mm-hmm. And, when I was reading Dusty's nomination, and I'm like, this one is not going to benefit Justin nearly as much as it's going to benefit Dusty and his kids. And so that's what moved me to select Justin. Was realizing that his participation in the sport was actually benefiting an entire family. It wasn't just benefiting one guy. And so we actually sent him from Ohio down to Wauchula, Florida, to train with Fly My PPG and One Up Adventures. Mm-hmm. And so that was a fantastic trip. Got him out of the cold weather of the Midwest in the wintertime, and got down to Florida, had a great time with him. But yeah, so, for him, it was about benefiting an entire family.
I want to quickly say thank you to 2 people I just saw made donations. Austin Joffe, I hope, Austin, I'm pronouncing your name correctly, made a $5 donation. Appreciate that really much, sir. And then DP, David Perry, he says, alms for the poor and for Resurgence PPG. I blame Todd for this donation. $10 donation from DP. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that so much. Todd, I want to ask you this. This is probably one of the best parts of what you get to do, I would imagine, is that phone call that Justin just described there. What is it like to call up a candidate and say, I'm Todd with Resurgence PPG, and guess what? You just got sponsored. What is that emotionally like for you and for the candidates?
For me, it's a tough call because they never believe me. I mean, I call them up, and I have to explain who I am, that, yeah, this is real. And, are you really wanting to do this? And so it usually takes a few minutes of talking to them before they're like, wow, this is really going to happen. And then as I explain the process, the tuition coverage, the travel piece, the per diem and whatnot, and they realize the total impact, they still don't believe me. They're like, you're really going to do this? So that once we get past that, it's really cool to, I guess hear them or hear in their voice, that there's relief. Mm-hmm. There's disbelief, but there's relief that, wow, that the time that was spent doing that nomination, even considering this crazy harebrained idea, it actually worked. And so, hearing that in their voice is always good. I sleep better at night, those nights that I'm able to make those calls.
Yeah. So, Justin, I wanted to ask you, was it just like Todd described, as far as your emotions when you first got that phone call, realizing this is really happening, or what was going through your mind?
Yes, I think I was an odd case. He called my wife to let her know that I was being selected, and I was out of the house at the time. But when I came home, and then she was telling me, she kind of sat down on me and was like, "Okay, you have to listen. He selected you. You're gonna go train and learn how to fly." And I was emotional. I told her, I was like, "I don't believe that I was selected. There's no way." And then so she played the voicemail that he left first, and then she gave me his phone number, and I called him back, and I was like, "Are you serious? This is real?" And yeah, it was pretty heavy.
Awesome.
That is awesome. Very, very cool. Want to let you know, another person that absolutely loves Resurgence PPG is a guy named James Sutherland. And James Sutherland is a sponsor of our show. Sometimes you'll go to fly-ins and you'll see this table set up with Charlie soap, all these natural soaps that you can use for your home. And he just says, take whatever you want, just leave a donation that I can give to Resurgence PPG. And it's just awesome to see people like him in our community. He's becoming he has become a very close friend of mine, and he actually just made a $50 donation in the super chat as well. So thank you, Jimmy. Appreciate that, buddy. That's awesome. All right, so now, Justin, I want to ask you first, and then we'll get back to Brandon. So now you're going down to Florida, and you're doing training. Tell us a little bit how training was for you, that experience.
So training, it was a little bit overwhelming at first, and Todd kind of warned me a little bit ahead of time that there's going to be a bunch of people at this training. So then, he gave me a couple names like, hey, just make sure you know who these people are, kind of thing. So there was a few people there that I knew the names of. It was pretty exciting to see. I was training with Fly My and One Up Adventures, which were two, top schools that I knew of. And then so when I got the first day, I did tandem flights, and I got to do a tandem flight with Kyle Mooney. I was like, who else gets to do a tandem flight with Kyle Mooney? So it was pretty exciting. And then John Ripa came down there, and he was like saying hi to everybody. He got to me. He was like, I don't know you, but hey. I was like, whatever, John.
There you go. But how could you not know Ripa?
I knew Ripa. Ripa told me he didn't know who I was.
All right.
So I wasn't cool yet.
Very cool. So how was the training for you then? Besides that, you got to fly with Mooney.
It was
That's
good.
Awesome. What about, did you get a chance to fly? I saw in the chat earlier, Blue Sky Chaser Allie. Did you get to fly with Allie at all? I know you got to train with her, correct?
Oh, yeah. We only did the one tandem flight, the introductory flight or whatever. But, all through 6 instructors, I got to spend time with all of them at some point throughout the training. And, I ended up actually doing 17 flights by the time the training was over. So it was very thorough.
Okay. Very good. So let's switch gears and kind of ask the same thing about Brandon. So Brandon, for you, the same thing. What was it like to get that phone call from Todd? And then you can also talk about your training. Anything that went on during the training, something neat. And who did you train with?
So I trained with Josh Bowden. But start with the phone call. Basically, I was at work when I got the call, and he just asked me more about my background, and I told him, and then he said he was going to be sponsoring me, and I'm like, and then he told me when he could get into training, and I was I didn't even have enough time off. So I had to like work with them so I could work from home or work from Nebraska and do training at the same time. Fortunately, they were able to do that for me. But yeah, it was just, I wasn't expecting to get a phone call that quick. So it blew my mind. And then training with Josh, it was awesome. They also had, I'm sorry, I can't remember her name. The Nirvana dealer for North America from Arizona. She came up.
John?
And then
Deanna Lucky.
Yep. Yeah.
Deanna Lucky.
She came up, and then we had 2 people from Vancouver, I think. They came over as well, or Montreal, I'm sorry. They came over to the training as well. And then we had people from all over the country come just to basically meet with us, like the whole class, follow up with Josh, and it was awesome. A lot of people from all over, so that was cool. It was very painful the first week with the kiting. It was painful for everybody. We had a lot of high wind, so that got annoying. So we could really only do training in the morning and evenings. It's kind of made it a bummer. Didn't end up finishing training yet. I have to go back. Josh is super flexible with that, so that's been awesome.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun.
Have you made any number of flights yet?
Yeah, 7 so far out of the 24, I think.
Okay, so are you saying that Josh requires 24 flights before he's going to say you can go fly on your own at this point?
I don't know if he requires it, but he does the, PPG 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
So to get that PPG 2, you have to have that many flights, I believe.
Okay.
Somewhere around there. But yeah, so I'm going to go back and finish those up.
Okay, awesome.
At some point.
Justin, how about with you? Talk a little bit now. So you've gotten everything you need for training. Have you been flying since you finished your training?
I have, yeah. So a couple months ago, I saved up a little bit of money and was looking for a used motor, and some sale fell through, and Todd actually had a connection and helped me get a good deal on an air conception.
Mm-hmm.
So I got one of those, and then at the end of the training, Todd actually gifted me the good old Velocity Core 28 meter that's been used a number of times, but still flyable. So
which was donated.
I've been using that.
Which was donated to Resurgence by who?
I thought you were going to do that.
Oh.
Todd.
It's Dave Ruff.
Dave Ruff.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was Dave Ruff's wing.
And I did talk to Dave yesterday. I told him that, Justin, you were going to be on the show, and he was just absolutely thrilled. I think I might have told you this too. He was absolutely thrilled to know that it's being used, that his donation is being used for good use. And what a generous gift by Dave Ruff to Resurgence PPG. And hopefully a lot of people will be able to use that. I can make some really bad jokes here, but be able to use that glider and learn to fly for until they can get their own glider. So that's absolutely awesome. How many flights do you have total now?
Now 38.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Cool, man. And what did I tell you the other day? Being up in northeastern Ohio, what did I tell you you're going to have to get now?
I got to get a thermal suit, I guess. I don't know.
You got to get
flight
a flight
suit, what do you call it?
But more importantly, heated gloves too. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, the gloves.
Those,
yeah,
man. You're gonna need. You don't want to stop flying. And I thought I saw Tim Garvey's in the chat, or he was at least. I don't know if Tim is still there, but Tim Garvey's a guy he doesn't live too far away from you. He's definitely a guy you want to hook up with and fly a lot with. He'll definitely be able to take you, keep you going, keep that progression going as well. There was a question here in the chat, Todd, and this comes from
Jim CR120.
Yes, thank you. It says, a question for Todd. How does one become an approved Resurgence sponsor, as in displays Resurgence on signs, shirts, etc.? Is there a procedure for advertising for Resurgence?
Hit me up so I can send you the graphics. Because for me, it's about sharing the story and sharing the mission. And if people see it and they see our logo and they ask questions, and Jim's able to talk about it, man, that's money right there. That's what I need. So, I don't have this, hard licensing agreement or anything like that people need to fill out. It's, let's share the story. Let's share it. And so if somebody if somebody's interested in, putting a sign up or, something like that, hit me up and let's see if I can get you the graphics and, see what you do.
Todd, there's another question for you as well here in the chat. This comes from Robert Amuse. He says, does Todd take gear for a donation as well? He has a slightly
used kiting harness.
Yeah, kiting harness he could donate. So if someone has a kiting harness or something like that, what's the procedure for that?
So to answer the question, yes, we take donations, and donations have become a huge part, especially this past year. It's really become a huge part of what we're able to do and how we're able to support our alumni. And what we normally do is, if you see me at a fly-in or something and you just want to pass off the equipment, I can take it there. If not, you can mail it to me. My address is on the website, or shoot me an email, text, I can get it to you. But once I receive the equipment, I'll go ahead and generate a donation receipt, mail that back to you. And so what we do, and like Justin, the funny story about his wing, that was one of the first wings that we had donated, and it was donated by Dave Ruff. And within Resurgence, we joke about it because it went to Ty Hayden, then it went to Sean Michael Horn, and then it ended up with Justin. And so that wing itself has been around per se. Mm-hmm. But what it does is those donations allow us to keep guys flying once they finish training and get them, to help them bridge that gap. So, they're able to get the money for their own gear or whatnot. We've been blessed. We've had a few motors donated to this point. So we've been able to get guys in motors. We've got this past trip, when I went up to Michigan and then over to Oshkosh, back down to Moonshiners, and then home. I ended up coming home with 3 additional wings. And what those wings will do is I'll be able to either send them to a candidate prior to training, and I send them a PPG Bible as well. And, try to get them to start working on, we try to get them aligned with a mentor close to them so they can start kiting and whatnot before they go to training. But it's a benefit for us because, it allows us to get guys into equipment earlier and keep them in equipment once they finish training.
You never know what Resurgence people could use, alumni, candidates can use. And Todd is the best person to, he's right in the center of all of that. When we were in Tennessee, I was selling a lot of stuff for a buddy of mine who just recently got out of paramotoring, and we had a throttle. And I said, Todd, here's a throttle. No one's buying it. Can you use it? And he said, yeah, I've got someone in mind that actually needs a throttle, right? And did that go to someone yet, or you're still in process?
We're in the process because I've got a motor. We're trying to find a frame to put a motor on right now because we've got a candidate that, or we got an alumni that we're trying to get the motor to. But I just need to go ahead and get a frame.
What kind of motor is that, Todd,
donated? Say again?
What kind of motor is that you have?
It's a Nitro 200.
Okay, thanks.
So we're just trying to, track down a frame that we can use. I've got a harness, got a prop, got the motor, got the throttle, got wings, nice. But just need a frame.
Slow Days donated $10 in the super chat. I've kind of lost count of how much he's donated at this point, but again, thank you, Slow Days, for that donation. Bottom line is, Todd, is that you never know what you're going to need or who's going to need what. And so, if you've got something that's sitting around that can be donated, donate it. Donate it. Can't hurt. Todd, this past week, you had said it too, that 3 candidates had just gone. Oh, we had a couple other donations I just saw come in. Well, let me finish my thought here. Three candidates had just become alumni at Fly My PPG. You want to talk for a second about that?
Yeah, so that was a really cool experience. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it up to fly my to see them get their flights, but it was again. This is a situation where it goes back to fiscal responsibility and whatnot. I received the first nomination from Doug, and he has a very compelling story. He's a Purple Heart recipient. Typical story for a Resurgence candidate, and I was very compelled to go ahead and sponsor him, and all of a sudden I had contacted him and we've been chatting. He's like, "Hey, my brother's a disabled vet too, and he'd really like to do this." And I was like, "Well, go ahead and have him, put in a nomination, and I'll put him on the wait list, and we'll see." And then it turned into, "Hey, I've got another buddy that would really like to do this," and it's kind of like, "Well, tell him to send in a nomination, and we'll see what happens." And in July, when I went up to fly my PPG prior to going over to Oshkosh, all those guys live near the school itself. They're in the Lansing, St. John's area themselves. And I said, "Hey, all three of you come out to the airport. Let's meet and let's talk." And they came out and talked, and I got to meet them. And I was like, "Listen, I don't have the money to sponsor three guys right now." I said, "But what I can do is we can do a split sponsorship." And so we took the funds that would have gone to one candidate and we split it amongst the three of them. And so that's how we were able to get three for the price of one, basically.
Very good.
So, we went and, we dropped some cash, and we were able to get all three of those guys in. And Dan was the last one to fly, and he made his first flight today.
Nice.
And so I know Justin and Alexis are in the chat, and I can't thank them enough for being a part of it and being there. The cool thing was Alexis was like, "Hey, we're getting ready to finish everything up," and she set up a Zoom call, and I was able to talk to the guys and talk to the class before they finished up, and it's been a good experience. So can't thank the folks up at Fly My and John Isley enough.
Nice. Mike and all them. I think the weather wasn't really cooperating so much this past week. Is that correct?
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it's too bad. Hey, Fly says, how do people get those cool Resurgence buffs, T-shirts, etc.? Is there a merch store?
So if he's talking about these jerseys that we're wearing, the only way to get one of these is to be an alumni. When we did our adventure wingman trip out to Arizona, David, that you didn't go on.
There it is. Again.
All the participants that went out on that trip got a cool long sleeve jersey that we had made up. And we got a lot of positive response out of that. People were like, "Hey, you need to make some jerseys like that." And I'm like, one, they're really expensive. So even if I were to make them and then turn around and sell them, there wouldn't be much of a profit margin there. But the other thing was that, we wanted it to be special for the people that went on the trip. And so that's why if you see the long sleeve jerseys, those people were out on the Adventure Wingman trip with us and were big supporters. And some of our alumni, they're like, we'd really like a jersey of our own that's just alumni. And so no supporters get these. None of the instructors that have worked with us. These are the candidates that had been selected that, basically they earn their way into these jerseys. So if you see these jerseys running around and, we got Odin on the front with a E prop in his hand and the Resurgence logo on its back, that they're one of our candidates that had been selected.
Yep. Very good. By the way, Todd, just so you know, Kelby Cox asked, where can you get one of these T-shirts that I'm wearing? Kelby, you can get them anywhere, buddy. Thanks for being a Brown supporter. I appreciate it. He made that comment earlier. That was a sweet shirt. I don't know if you caught that, Todd. You probably just brushed over that one. But here's some good stuff. Darren Locklear made a $50 donation in the super chat. Thank you, buddy. Really appreciate that $50 donation. That's awesome. Also, friend of yours, Rip Man, spent a lot of time at EFD. Hot Buttered Steve in the chat. He made a $20 donation. And Todd, here's what he said. He said, I learned 2 things this past week. Don't drink and dress. And putting butter on a Pop-Tart is delicious. Did you know that, Todd?
I've seen people put butter on their Pop-Tarts after they toast them, but
well,
I never got into that.
He would know because he is Hot Buttered Steve. Also, Johnny Utah made a $5 donation. He said, this is beard dye for Todd. Beard dye. Are you not going to grow... I saw you with the old pictures, and this was right before we met. You had this huge, long beard. You're not going back to that, are you?
No, I've got 2 granddaughters now, and little infants like to grab beards and pull on them.
That's good. That's good. All right. You're so cute, dude. Got the blue eyes. All right, anyways. Flying Darties. That got weird. Flying Darties. What's up, guys? Said Todd did the nicest thing and gave the donations that usually... Todd did the nicest thing and gave the donations that usually go to Resurgence. Am I reading that wrong?
You're reading it wrong.
Okay, read it to me. Todd did the nicest thing. Go ahead.
David Wolf did the nicest thing.
Oh, I did the nicest thing and gave the donations that you... Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, guys. All right. Wait a minute. Here it is. Oh, here's another one from them. It says, Resurgence to Michael Holliday's family... And this may have been covered. I'm late to the show, but so kind. Todd is awesome. There you go. Thank you, guys. Chad B. Am I missing anything here? Chad B. Said, I think they give David Wolf's jersey out for free. Not sure. What? Come on, Chad B. He's ripping on the 2-1 Browns right now. That's cool. Let's get back to the show, though. Guys, Justin, Brandon, what has this meant to you? What has Resurgence really meant to you? I mean, how has this changed your life? Whoever wants to go first. Brandon, how about you?
All right. Honestly, it's meant a lot. There's a lot of great guys. There's a Facebook chat now, a Discord chat just for the alumni, and people are always on it. People, like, man, if you need anything, I feel like you can just reach out to them, and even if they're hours away, they still come help you out. So it's just a bunch of veterans supporting veterans. So it's been awesome. It's a brotherhood again.
It is. That's awesome. And then Justin, how about you?
Yeah, so I mean, I'll second that. Having that camaraderie again, like as a tight knit group, it's really been really cool to have that back in my life. And then the flying itself, I told everybody basically like my first flight when I was in the sky, like that was the first time in 11 plus years that my brain was just quiet and it was like peace. So for a lot of us, probably that's kind of the experience we get, and it's really calming and it helps calm the nerves, and it's really great.
That's awesome. I'll tell you one thing that's really cool too is when I was at Bad Apples earlier this year, you see all the Resurgence guys hanging out together, supporting each other. Just it is a brotherhood. It is a group of camaraderie. And as I say the word brotherhood, Todd, I guess there's a question: is a female Resurgence candidate in the works, or is it in the future at any time?
Well, we're always open for diversity, and that's especially I look at the female pilots that I've had the pleasure of getting to know, whether it's Allie, Alexis, Elena Honeycutt, Maria is going to be on next week, Leah Catullo, all these ladies that, have made a name for themselves in the sport. I would love nothing more than to get a female Resurgence candidate sponsored through the program and, to become an alumni. With that being said, out of the 100 and some odd applications that we've received, I only received one application for a female, and her application was that she just wanted to take a tandem flight somewhere just to see what it was like. So for her, it wasn't about getting into the sport and being a part of the community. It was just, hey, that looks kind of cool. I'd like to do it on a weekend one time.
All right.
So, unfortunately, we just don't get the number of applications to kind of fill that void.
All right. Well, maybe one day we will, and hopefully we will. Hot Butter Steve made another donation for $10, and he said, "This is just a little extra for Ripper posting pictures of Rick Davies eating a banana all week." Awesome, man. Awesome. Also, Alexis Quintana, who you just mentioned, she said, "Make those boys stand up and show off those jerseys. Come on, guys, let's see the jerseys."
Okay.
All right. Very nice. Very nice.
Wow, check them out.
Even Justin's flexing there. Very cool.
Those are sweet.
There you go. I wasn't even flexing. That was nothing.
That was nothing. All right. All right, there you go, Alexis. Flying Doherty's, I'll try again. Money was given to Michael Holliday's family. Okay, this is making money was given to Michael Holliday's family because Todd said give it to Michael's family instead of Resurgence. The money Michael usually raises for them, that was kind. That's awesome, Todd. You want to talk about that a little bit, or kind of just is what it is?
Yeah, and so obviously we've all been impacted by the passing of Michael, and whether you knew Michael or you didn't know him, there's been an impact to the community, and he was the embodiment of Resurgence, because one, his love for the community, his love for the sport, his caring, giving nature, and the fact that he had gone through the battle with cancer the way he had, and he had come back from it, and he got through it, and he was such a fighter. I was so fortunate to finally meet him face to face and spend time with him at EFD 2019, and from the first time he found out about Resurgence, he became a big supporter of ours. And, whenever I would talk to him, he always had really positive things to say. And, so when I heard about, his passing, Damon contacted me regarding, our attendance out to EFD. And again, I wasn't able to make it because of family obligations here. But I was like, you know what? Michael's been, such an amazing supporter of ours. He dedicated EFD to supporting Resurgence. So any of the proceeds that they would raise at Endless Foot Drag, Michael would donate back to us, which was fantastic. And I was like, you know what, at this point, this time this year, I need to show our appreciation and our deference to Michael. Yep. So I told Damon, hey, make sure that whatever is raised in the name of Resurgence, just direct it back to the Holiday family for whatever needs they might have. And, I just felt it was the right thing to do. It was a very, very easy decision.
Very good. And, I saw Tim Gaskins in the chat earlier. Hope Tim is still able to be here on a show. Bad Apples, I'm proud to be a Bad Apple. And as you know, Todd, that Bad Apples did the same thing at the fly-in this year, where the proceeds, big donation was made to Resurgence PPG as well. Your generosity inspires a lot of people. I mean, it's inspired me quite a bit. And a couple things I said earlier was that if we could hit your number, 67 viewers at one time on the show, then I would donate an extra $100. Unfortunately, we're not. It doesn't look like we're going to. We're at 42 right now. So but hopefully a lot of people will share this video, learn more about Resurgence PPG. But with that being said, as I said earlier, 50% of the proceeds that we raise on the show go directly to Resurgence PPG. What does that really mean? It means that a third, because Google takes a third, the show takes a little bit, and, so that we can do more things with the show, the website, all that other stuff that we try to do. And we got to pay Ripa. Well, we're really paying Gorilla, and Ripa's just here in his absence. And then the other third goes. But here's what we're going to do tonight. We've raised a lot with your generosity in the super chat. We've raised a lot of money tonight. I'm looking right now at $926, and
Wow.
And so a third of that would be a little bit $305. Okay, so rather than just donate $305, we're going to give 100% of the proceeds. $611 as of right now is going to go to Resurgence tonight because of your generosity. So thank you all very much. If you're listening to the show after the show is aired, please consider going to resurgenceppg.com. You can make a donation there. Will Fly had asked earlier about getting some gear, some swag. If you want to, you can do it there, and proceeds go right to Resurgence PPG from anything that's on the website as well. Todd, before we wrap up, you had a story that you wanted to share about something that just happened recently as yesterday. So would you go ahead and then after that, we will have an after show. We'll have the code up on the screen. So if you'd like to come in, say hello to Todd, thank Brandon and Justin for their service and being a part of the show tonight, you're more than welcome and encouraged to do that as well. Todd, go ahead and tell that story.
So, we talk about, the flying and, being a part of the paramotor community is being important. And, I always tell people that the flying is the hook that gets these nominations drawn in. But what Brandon and Justin talked about tonight about that camaraderie and that brotherhood, it means a lot to me. And that is the most important part of this organization that I tried to foster and I tried to mentor and I tried to make a true reality. And we're especially on this show, we're all friends of Kelby Cox. He was one of our earlier nominees, one of our alumni, and just showing the benefit and the true meaning of what Resurgence is. We got a message in our group chat last night from Kelby that he was on his way to the hospital. He thought he was having a heart attack. And, so immediately, we're on the chat and a number of us are chatting with him, asking him how he's doing, trying to find out how he's feeling, what's going on. And, because of my medical history, I've suffered 2 heart attacks and, if it's cardiac related, I've got it as an issue. And so Kelby was asking me a lot of direct questions and what to expect at the hospital and what to expect from tests and whatnot. And so, we had a brotherhood there that was supporting him. And, we were there answering questions. We were there providing, just support, just encouragement to him. And he got to the hospital. They started running tests, and he's asking me, what do the tests mean? What do the readings mean? He was actually sending me images of his ECG, and I was kind of telling him what I thought it meant. And, I didn't think he was having a heart attack. But I didn't stay at a Holiday Inn Express. I'm not a doctor, anything like that. And I was telling him, ask your nurse and your doctor about these other markers, other things to look at. And, he's sending me the results of his blood work, and he didn't have a heart attack. He did have an arrhythmia. And, he's going to a cardiologist later this week, but he was released from the hospital, just after 2:00 this morning. And the amazing thing was, I was still there chatting with him. There are people in the group chat that were following up with him. I know, and to expand on what this brotherhood means and what this group means, Justin's wife was reaching out to Kelby to make sure that he was okay. And so this group really is significant. It is impactful. And I think the only thing that we regret is the fact that we are geographically dispersed and we're not closer to hang out with each other more often. Because, it was last night was the realization for me at how special Resurgence really is. When you've got a guy going through a situation like that and, we're all there supporting him, and, it means so much. So, and so, as people look at it, that's what your donations actually go to. The donations go to flying and whatnot, but no, your donations really go to supporting a group of veterans and building this brotherhood and this camaraderie that you can't find it anywhere else.
This brotherhood and this camaraderie that you talk about, it's a very chosen group of people that not everybody's allowed to or can be a part of. There's certain requirements that some of us just can't fulfill. But for the rest of us, there's stuff that we can do to be a part of the bigger picture of Resurgence PPG, and that's kind of where I found my place, is being able to spread the story, spread the word, and I do that almost every single day in my own business. And being able to do a show like this where we spread the word, and like I said, hopefully everybody takes the link and spreads it over and shows a family member. Did you know that my passion for flying in paramotors is something even bigger than just that? There's this thing called Resurgence PPG. Here, take a look, learn a little bit about it, share it with somebody. In my wallet, I carry a couple credit cards, my driver's license, my my medical whatever insurance card, and there's one other thing that I carry, and it's the most important thing that I carry, and it's my coin, my Resurgence coin. And it's a constant reminder every day of people out there that are braver than me, greater than me, that I look up to, that I'm so proud to support. And, in a way, it gives my life an extra special meaning. And that's my invitation to everybody watching this show, whether it's right now live or if you're watching it, is make your life more meaningful. Support something bigger than yourself. Support, the military. As I always tell people when I meet them, I get the opportunity to meet a lot of people that did serve. And I say, I never got to serve, but I serve those that do. And here's how. It's called Resurgence PPG, and that's how I spread the mission. It's that easy to start up the conversation and just discuss these great people, Todd, well, the great people and Todd. And no, no, I'm joking.
Ouch.
Believe me, Todd takes plenty of pokes at me anywhere he can.
I do very much so.
He does. And it's a great thing you started, and I've told you that so many times. Jeremy is in the chat, and I just see a message here from Jeremy, and we're going to wrap this up here in a second. He says, what's the best way to get Todd in front of a big corporation for a possible donation? Great question, Jeremy. Todd.
If you have a connection and you're able to get me an invitation, I'd be more than happy to. The big challenge that I have found when I approach corporations is either their charter is not directed towards the ADAPT community, or they have no idea, no concept what paramotors are or paragliding. And so I have to go through the explanation of what the sport is and demonstrate the benefit. And so I'm basically starting off 2 steps behind, because it's not like equestrian therapy. You tell somebody you're involved in equestrian therapy, they understand what it is. You tell people you're taking people out skydiving, they get it immediately. If you're involved in a fishing therapy, outdoors program, people get it right off the bat. But so the challenge is getting past that first step. I will say that we had received a grant earlier this year from a family foundation that is connected to a very large home improvement corporation. And hopefully we'll be able to continue that grant process moving forward. But yeah, if you have connections to CFOs or the powers that be, I would definitely love or appreciate the opportunity to speak in front of anybody.
There you go. Thank you, Jeremy, for asking that question, and thank you for spreading the mission, spreading the word as well. Oh, I should put myself back on the screen. There we go. Hey, we're going to put the code up for the after show. Feel free to come on. Would love to see a lot of people there. I'm just going to conclude this here with Craig Taylor saying, Craig Taylor says, always have my Resurgence Challenge coin in my wallet too, just like me. Awesome.
Hey, David.
Yes, sir, Todd.
I know we're already running over, but can I go ahead and do a quick update on?
Take as much time as you'd like.
Okay. So this is going back to what we had planned for this year and what we're looking at for next year. We had made an announcement a couple months ago that we were going to be attending the Warrior Games. 2021 at Disney World. Unfortunately, the Warrior Games and Disney canceled the event. It was mostly Disney canceled the event due to the pandemic. So unfortunately, we weren't able to do that. We would have been doing it right now, actually. But because of the contacts we've made with the Warrior Games, we have already received our invitation to attend the Warrior Games 2022 as an exhibition sport. And that will be held in San Antonio, Texas, this time next year. So that's going to be a big event for us. Scrolling through the chat, there had been a question about, when is Todd going to schedule, another alumni reunion event, that kind of thing. The Warrior Games event is going to be our alumni reunion for next year. Just because I want to make sure that all of our guys have the opportunity to plan and schedule and, try to get there. So from here going forward, we're going to be trying to solicit funds and donations for support to get our alumni there, because it's going to be a great opportunity for us to showcase this sport, the accessibility to a greater adaptive community. Other things we're, looking at continuing to, sponsor candidates is, as long as we're able to get those donations keep coming in. With the donations, one thing that has proven hugely beneficial to us, are, small monthly donations. It's amazing to see what, $5, $10, $20 a month is able to do for us. And so to those folks out there that have set up monthly donations, I can't thank you guys enough. It really is the bread and butter of us getting funding to keep this thing going. So we're hoping to continue the mission. And the last thing, from the Adventure Wingman trip, they were, we're in the process of making a documentary. The last word I got was that it was going into final edit. They just had a few other scenes that they had to finish up and get some music added to it. But it's already behind schedule, but we're hoping that we'll see something here really, really soon. So that's kind of what we're looking at, kind of where we've been, and what we're looking at going forward.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Good
Todd.
stuff. Good stuff.
Yep. Justin, Brandon, thank you guys so much for being on the show tonight. Todd, it's always a pleasure to have you on. And I think Brandon, Hot Butter Steve, he's going to come into the after show for a quick second, because he said he'd love to start flying with you. He's not too far away from you. Justin, I already told you, man, you're only a couple hours away, man. We got to get together and we'll fly together as well.
Definitely.
John Ripa, thank you again for filling in for PPG Gorilla tonight.
Thanks, guys, for coming on.
Guys, next week, as I said, we got Maria Blandon coming in. And thank you so much. We will see you guys next week, next Sunday night. And here comes the link for the after show. We'll see you then. Thanks, guys.